Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Centel Spotlight. I'm your host, Dan Hogan, and tonight I have the pleasure of sitting in a 1972 Corvette Stingray as part of the 1984 Corvette show here at Winter Haven Mall. We'll be talking to the owner of this automobile as well as to a lot of people that are here in association with the Corvette show this year. So we invite you to stay tuned for what looks like a very interesting program. With us now is Dennis Thibodeau. He is chairman of the Corvette show today at the mall. If you will, how long has your club been in existence?
We've been together since 1978, February 1978.
And what brought about the organization of this club?
Well, basically, the only club that we could attend meetings to at that time was over in Orlando, and there was an awful lot of people in the Polk County area that owned Corvettes. And we generated it. We found that there was an interest in wanting to form a club in this area. So we took the initiative to put the club together, and it's been very successful since 1978.
And how many members do you now have?
We have an excess of 50 members. I can conservatively say we could have over 60. I haven't looked at the list lately. It's been a while. But.
And I understand this is your charity fundraiser for spina bifida. Give me some idea about how that association came together.
Well, that's a good question. In 1978, the National Council of Corvette Clubs elected to support spina bifida nationally as our national charity. And in Polk County, we were fortunate enough to have a Polk County chapter of the Spina Bifida Association, which their organization started the same time that our club did, so there was a marriage that started right there. And from that point until now, it's just always stayed as we're kind of like sister clubs, so to speak, I guess you could say.
And of course, you're a Polk County club, but I understand you draw from outside the county as far as your membership is concerned. Where do they come from exactly?
That's correct. We have some members that come as far away as St. Petersburg and some in Tampa. I'm sure there are some clubs in that area, but for whatever reason, I don't know that the people that do join our club or in our club, have it for a particular reason that they, there's no boundary lines on Corvette clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever we have to offer that they like, then that's why they belong to our club instead of the ones that are over there. But all Corvette clubs have about the same goal in mind. They just do different things and different priorities.
What other events are held during the year besides this event?
Well, this is, of course, is a concourse auto show,
mm-hmm.
A Corvette show. And there are other events such as, they have autocrosses, which are, you may be familiar with running little so-and-sos.
Right. Uh-huh.
I don't get into that. That's too expensive. And then they have rallies, which is where you have a list of things you have to answer questions. I've been in several of them, but never won any of them. I don't know why, but I never have. And then we have picnics and things like that, social events. We have a real good time.
Now, if someone in our viewing audience is interested in learning more information about your club, and they're a Corvette owner themselves, how would they go about getting that information?
Well, there's a couple of ways. Just the first thing, our sponsor is Steve Sorensen Chevrolet in Lake Wales, Florida. And Steve Sorensen would, if there's no other way that they can get in touch with us, they could call Steve Sorensen Chevrolet, and he could give them an address or phone number to contact. But they could contact Tom Bunn or myself, and they could get those phone numbers and locations through Steve Sorensen Chevrolet in Lake Wales. It would probably be the easiest way to get in touch with us.
And I assume you have regular meetings. Where do you hold your meetings?
Right, we have one meeting a month in Winter Haven. I believe it's the second Thursday.
Uh-huh.
I ought to know this because I did start this club. We have two meetings a month, one in Winter Haven on the second Thursday, and then the fourth Thursday of the month in Lakeland. And the reason we have them in two places is so that we can, let the other people that live further away from Winter Haven also attend meetings without having the inconvenience of driving so far. So that's why we do that.
What's the oldest Corvette on display here today? Would you be aware of that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to check myself. There is a 61 right down over here on the right wing of the mall as we face the Moss Brothers down there, and that's a 58. That's a 50. I'm sorry, 62, 61. That's the oldest one that I know of in the show. Then down at the other end we have a 65, which would be your next oldest. Then a 66 up here, then another 66, and then they just keep going on up.
And what do you personally own?
I have a 77. My wife lets me drive it periodically.
Well, that's very nice of her.
She is pretty nice, man.
Is there anything unusual that's happened since you've started in this club? Anything funny, maybe, that's happened at any event? I always ask that general question no matter who I'm talking to. Sometimes you come up with amusing stories when you ask it. Anybody ever gotten lost during a rally or run out of gas or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, we've had several things like that happen. But one thing that happened here, this happened, well, the first year we had this show, which was 6 years ago. At that time, I owned a 65 Corvette Roadster, and it was a nice car, if I must say so myself. And somewhere you can buy these little paint cans that look like the paint is spilling out of the can. It's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure do.
Well, somebody had taken and laid one on the hood of my car, and I had never seen one of these little tricks before, and I walked over and saw it and just went bozo for about 5 minutes.
I imagine so. That is an amusing story.
That's one of the nicer stories I can tell. There are other wilder ones that have happened. But
Hey, thank you so much for talking with us.
Sure. Thank you very much.
We're speaking now with Mike Wilson, and he has helped put this particular automobile back in shape, and I understand it's a recent purchase. When was this particular Stingray bought?
It was about 6 weeks ago.
And what condition was it in then?
The interior was in pretty bad shape. All the seats and carpet had to be replaced, and the dash and the door moldings and door panels and all that had to be repaired, and altogether it was around $1,300 worth of parts and materials, plus your labor.
And you did the labor, right, for the owner? And who is the owner?
He's my brother, Gary Wilson.
And what type of work was needed on the engine here?
Just tune up and just try to clean it up a little bit, and just minor things. It was basically in good shape whenever we got it.
What type of engine is in this automobile?
It's a 350, but it used to be a race car, and the guy that had it blew the engine.
I see.
And whenever he did that, he couldn't get a 427, so he put in a 350.
I see, because I did notice the 427 there on the front of the automobile. And when you purchased this, did you put on new tires, or are these the same ones that were on it to begin with?
These are the same tires that were on it.
You mentioned the previous owner raced it. Any idea about the history of the racing of this car?
No, sir. It was just, he treated it pretty rough. It was in really bad shape because he left, when he took the roll bar out, he left holes in the floor of the car in the back there, and we had to repair all those with fiberglass and refiberglass it, and then paint it and stuff underneath down there.
I imagine a lot of people wonder about the fact these are made out of fiberglass. How hard are they to repair?
Well, if you know what you're doing, it's not too bad, but if you get a real bad crack close to the frame, then it's pretty hard to repair.
I see. And have there been Vettes in the family before, or is this a first?
Well, I have a Vette at home. It's a 68 convertible. But it has to be restored, but it's going to take a lot more time and money to restore it, but we're going to try to start on it next month.
And what year is this Stingray?
This here's 1969.
And what do you call the color of this automobile?
It's slate gray.
And how did you and your brother first become interested in Vettes to begin with?
Well, I've always liked them, but usually they were too expensive. But my wife, she had it just before we got married, and so that got me really interested, and then we joined the Corvette Club, Cypress Gardens, and then we got more into it, and then it's just an everyday thing. We just try to do something to them every day, fix them a little bit, and try to carry on.
Thank you so much. Right now we're talking with Alan Bunch, who is from Seffner, Florida. And what are we looking at here, Alan? What year Stingray do you own?
It's the 1966 Stingray Coupe.
And what prompted your interest in Vettes to begin with?
In my childhood, whenever this particular body style came out, it made a real impression on me that has stayed with me.
And how did you acquire this particular automobile?
Well, it was a Christmas present to me from myself.
I see. And is this the first Vette you've ever had?
No, I've had quite a few.
Is this your favorite?
Yes. This was pretty much the consummation of what I wanted in this particular car, and I looked for a long time to find this color, exterior, interior, equipment, and everything. This particular car has every option offered in 1966, and with this color combination is what I would look for, and it was probably, I looked for 5, 6, 7 years to find a car in this condition with this color combination equipment.
And where did you locate this car?
Detroit, Michigan.
And how did you locate it?
Through a Corvette trade publication.
And if you will, I noticed the duplication of the sticker here. It was around $6,000 as the original purchase price. And I understand you've turned down quite a bit of money for this automobile. What is the most you've ever turned down for it?
About $20,000 more than this original sticker.
Do you think you'll ever sell it?
Oh, I guess everything I own has a price. I don't know what it would be, though. It would probably be the right time and situation, but I don't foresee that anytime soon.
Now, do you drive this on a daily basis or not?
Oh, no, just on rare occasions when the weather is nice and I take it out of the garage, out of the cover, and take it out for a few miles just to keep the juices flowing in it so that the seals and valves don't dry out.
What's your other car?
Well, I have a Buick that my wife drives and a Chevrolet Monza that I drive back and forth to work.
Thank you so much, Malin Bunch. Right now we're talking with Karen Henry. She is chief judge of the Corvette event here at the mall. And how many judges are there besides you?
Oh, we have a total of 8 judges, including me.
And what are all of you judges looking for when you judge a car?
Basically, we look for cleanliness. We look for fit of the body, make sure all the seams fit correctly. We look for wax, cracks in the seats, dirt underneath the seats. We have to look for things like that. Most of these cars are in fantastic condition, so we have to look for the obvious dirt.
And what is the point system you're using?
We take off a half-point increments, we call it. A car could get 100 points, but if we find something wrong, we take off a half a point. And anything that goes above 95 points or above is considered a first-rank car.
About how many cars are in the show here?
We have 17. 12 of them are being judged, and 5 of them are on display.
And do you yourself own a Vette?
I sure do. I just sold one, and I own another one. The one I own right now is a 71, and I just sold a 72.
What's involved in becoming chief judge?
Being part of the Cypress Gardens Corvette Club, for one thing, and because I didn't have a car to show, they asked me if I would be chief judge, and I volunteered to be it.
How many particular cars have you personally looked at today?
Today, I've only judged 3.
Okay, give our viewing audience an idea, not naming names necessarily, but what has happened thus far as how many points have those 3 cars achieved?
One car I took off 1 full point. Another one I took off 1.5 points. And another car was a single car class. So I took 1 point off, let him know what he had wrong in case he ever does have competition in the future. He could work on these things that are wrong.
After the judging is all over, what are these people going to get?
They get a beautiful trophy. Then we have a best of show trophy. And we do have a participant's choice trophy. We're asking all the people in the mall to judge on their favorite car, and they get a beautiful trophy.
Right now we have the pleasure of speaking with Christy Whitcomb, who is a member of the Spina Bifida Association of Polk County. And first of all, Christy, who is in front of us here?
This is Chad. He's one of the members of our organization. He has spina bifida.
And what is the association doing here in conjunction with the Corvette Club show at the mall?
The Corvette Club sponsors a show once a year at the Winter Haven Mall to help us raise funds for our organization. The money that we receive, we use to send the children to camp and for various activities for the children.
And how exactly are they helping you raise these funds?
Well, they sponsor a People's Choice Award car, and the people come by and vote for a car. It's a penny a vote, and we take, as many votes as they want to donate. Mm-hmm. And the car that receives the most votes gets the People's Choice Award trophy.
And then Spina Bifida Association gets all of the vote money, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah. Right now we're inside a Vette at the mall. The owner is beside me in the driver's seat. Her name is Louise Sudduth. She's from Palm Beach. I understand you are president of the Corvette Club there. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And when did you first get interested in Corvettes?
I believe it was about 15 years ago.
And what sparked that initial interest?
I really liked the streamlinedness of the car and the handling of it after driving one.
And over the last 15 years, how many vets have you personally owned?
I've owned 4. I own 3 right now. I have the 1963 split window, which is the only year they made the split window, and I have a 1970 454.
And what are we sitting in today?
We have the 1972 454 convertible.
And if you will, give me some idea of your racing background. You told me you were involved in racing Corvettes.
Well, I race the stock class, which the way we generally do that is to break them down into classes, into the years, from RPs, which is race prepared, all the way to a pure class.
And have you won any?
Oh, yes, yes. I don't really race that fast other than if it's a roadway track, and I've had it up to 130, which is quite exciting.
And do you drive the automobile we're seated in here on a regular basis?
Yes, I do. This car goes to the beach with me. It races, it runs rallies, caravans. I drive it every day.
And we're in what now, specifically? What year car?
This is a 1972.
How many miles do you have on this baby?
Almost 130, well, 100,000 miles.
Uh-huh.
It's got 97,000 right at.
Still running okay, is it?
Very well. I maintain it myself. I do a lot of the mechanical work, and I detail the car myself.
Has anything unusual happened to you over the 15 years you've been interested in Corvettes?
Well, I flipped it around on a very major highway in California at one time. A car was coming right toward me, and I had to get out of his way, so I just flat turned it around on a freeway myself with no accident.
Well, my goodness, you obviously know what you're doing, and congratulations for winning those races.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for talking with us.
Thank you.